So I kept educating myself, y'all. The process of my ancestors coming here meant that when they were dropped off, and maybe Virginia, for my people, I traced it back to South Carolina. They were forced to change their name to the person who owned them. See, Krim is a European name, more specifically a German name. Put your hand up if you ever heard of Malcolm X. Malcolm X got rid of Malcolm Little because when he found out who he was through constantly educating, when he was in prison, he found out that it's a slave last name, so X represents the mystery. See, Malcolm X, one of my favorite historical figures because of the transformation. You know, when he grew up, traumatizing. His father was killed by the KKK on the train. His mother went insane because she couldn't adapt to it. She eventually goes into an insane asylum. He has to go move to Boston to live with his family, with his sister. And during that process, before he even moved, he was in school and he had great ambitions. One day, being the top of the class, he figured he's on the path to success. His teacher asked him, "Yo, Malcolm, what do you want to do when you grow up?" Malcolm said, "I want to be a lawyer." This is in the 1930s. The teacher said, "Malcolm, that's no career for an N-word." He put this in his book. He said, "Why don't you try to do something more practical, just with your hands? Don't use your mind. Just be a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter." That, combined with losing his father, were two of the most traumatic things that happened to him because he didn't think that he was capable anymore. So let me interrupt you right now. I'm going to add on to what your teachers have already said to you. You are capable of doing that and more. You understand that? Being a lawyer is possible. Being a doctor, just like I said before, it's possible. It's past possible. But Malcolm X had to go through that because when he moved with his sister to Boston, he resorted to a life of crime, gambling, pimping, doing a bunch of illegal things until he got caught, because it always catches up with you, y'all. I don't care what anybody told you. All the dudes I grew up with that resorted to a life of crime are now resorting to a life in prison. 25 to life, drugs, murder. Like, I feel like if the people in my neighborhood knew this information that I had known when I went to college, their life would have changed, would have been completely different. See, Malcolm eventually listened. While he was in prison, he asked why. He became aware of the obstacles, and he kept educating himself. And somebody let him know, yo, that's not who you really are. You aren't that criminal that they told you you were. First thing he did was he stopped perming his hair, because guys were perming their hair back then to get it straight. Then he converted to Islam, and he changed his last name. And he became a fiery preacher. And he went through another metamorphosis and evolution. He actually went to Mecca, where Muslims go to pray. And he had a lot of animosity being in America. And for the first time in his life in Mecca, he found white people praying with black people and brown people. And he's like, wow, this doesn't really happen in America. And he went back with a renewed sense of unity for mankind. But had he not gone through what he went through, previously before, he wouldn't have become the Malcolm X that he was before he was assassinated. That's a powerful lesson to learn through constantly educating yourself. So my real last name, y'all, is really a mystery. I'm not changing my last name, though, just for a particular reason. See, you don't have to legally change your last name to change your name. What does that mean? Your name has to mean something very specific to you. When somebody says your name, it should be something that's powerful. I don't care if it's Jackie. I don't care if it's Jason, Darrell, Laquan. I don't care if Sarah. People perceive what it is, but you have to bring meaning to it. It should mean, in my mind, when your name is said, it should mean greatness is the synonym. Now, my first name is Ernest. Yeah, Ernest. My name sounds like I'm 60 years old. But to me, it means legacy. See, I'm the third. My father's name was Ernest Krim. My grandfather's name was Ernest Krim. He was actually named after an uncle. There's a legacy with that. And because I know who I am, when they say Ernest Krim, I'm like, yeah, that's me. The third. Not the first, not the second, the third. All right, last question, y'all. Then we're going to wrap it up. Last question.